Alright, I'm back. I wanted to talk about numerology for a little bit. Uh, we're gonna start with the nine. It's gonna be kind of difficult. Uh, Keeping this camera hold while I'm writing. I gotta write through the camera, huh? That's kind of weird, but okay. We're gonna start with the nine. It's kind of like a G. It's the spiral. This the galaxy. You know what I'm saying? It's like these are like the higher realms, and then it curves out. This is like the wave we riding right here into the nine, you know what I'm saying? This is the galactic center, you know what I'm saying? But it's like we riding that wave. But it's counterclockwise, yo, because when we going from nine backwards, from this angle, how we see it, how we draw it or whatever, it's like it's going off into the eight, which I just accidentally made down here, but we gonna get off into that. But going off into the eight, yo. So we going backwards, but nine is like the higher round because when you coming out, it's like you going off into, you don't want to be in or whatever and just, I don't know, creating and all these types of things. That can go many ways, but we go off into the 10, hell. The 1-0, it's like a whole new realm we going through and, you know what I'm saying, making new creations or whatever, it's starting over. But anyway, so yeah, going off into the 8. Um, the Infinity Loop, shout out to Asit Iyuwaku. She just made a video on this talking about the Infinity Loop, the 8, and this is like the bridge. That's how she explained it. But as you can see, when we got that 8, that's that Infinity Loop. It's kind of like that hyperbolic type of shape right here, and it looks like a Pringle ship. It's like this is like the waves that we riding as well. You know, it's like a whoosh, you know what I'm saying, and it's like whoosh, it's going like this. It's like whoosh, you know what I'm saying? It keeps going. That's the sine wave, but it's like twisted, yo. It's like twisted to where it's like interlocked, and right here is where you have that cross point. It's like going off into the next half, whoosh, and then it's continuing, and it's like whoosh. This is how energy keeps recreating itself. It stays in that cycle. It stays in that loop. But it's about staying centered within itself and just moving along the frequencies, moving along the waves, yo. But uh, next is 7. Uh, and I wanted to kind of put it into terms. We're gonna look at 8 as Uranus. We're gonna look at 8 as Aquarius. And you know what? Not really. Well, yes, we are. But I'm saying that because I have Aquarius on my 8th house cusp. So I kind of just looked at it like that by default. But what we have is 8 is the infinity loop, right? And we know Aquarius uh, is ruled by Uranus, the Sky Father. This is that Enlil energy, that Enlil archetype. But this is the Sky Father, right? Ruler of the realms. And this is who they call Uranus. But also in Greek, he was known as Oranos. You know, it was spelled with an O instead of a U. And the U is kind of like the O cut off, yo. Because what happened to Uranus, he was castrated by Kronos. At that point, it was at that center, yo. And this is where we got time in the timeline. And like, it was like a separation point right here. It's like when they talk about Kronos being the one who he castrated Uranus, and I feel like he failed. He made his way out of that loop, and this is what gave birth to the timeline, yo. Now we have linear. This is where we get that L energy from, the L7 energy, and now this is like a whole new, thing going on right here. And then when he castrated Uranus, see everybody followed. This is L is known as Saturn. L is known as Saturn. Chronos, Father Time. He was the first one to create this timeline. In this timeline, yo, uh, we know Saturn is Cronus. We know, I'm gonna say it like we know Cronus is Father Time or the Grim Reaper. He's often portrayed as, or he's carrying a scythe of some sort. And we know the scythe is for the harvesting, as well as this is, the scythe that, castrated Uranus. It cut his way out, made his way out of that loop. And we know the scythe is also representative of harvesting because Saturn is the father of this realm, of this realm, you know. And it kind of is like he kind of made way for, the rest of those seeds to come out and go into these waters, these these waters, But yeah, that's 7. But I'm kind of tying in mythology with the numerology as well because I'm kind of telling the story. But yeah, this is who's known as Cronus. My bad. I'm kind of like I'm not even writing for real because it's like I'm looking through the camera. But so it's kind of weird. But y'all get the gist of it. But the let me see. From 7, came to 6. The 6 is like that upside down 9. It's kind of like the same energy as that 9 because Saturn he came from. This is who he comes from ultimately, and that's why I wanted to shout out I sit because when we're getting into 7, 8, 9, like 8, this really is the bridge right here. Like this really is the gateway, the portal. That's why on 8/8, August 8th, they call it that Lion's Gate. That's what they mean, yo. It's that portal right there. But this is that 9 energy. This is the mother. This is the divine mother that we all come from, that we all hold within us, that we all gonna always have within us. And we come through that gate and we carry that with us, yo. So it's like that's what we know. That's what we know to create. Or that's what we're attracted to anyway. So that's just naturally what we're drawn to. And that's the 6. It's the upside down 9. You know? So in 6, we know this is the Virgo, house of Virgo. This is the 6th house. And this is the what they call, what's also known as, Virgin Mary, or the what they call it. Jesus was born in Bethlehem, which is translated, if I'm not mistaken, house of bread. So this is the breeding house. See, it's the breeding house. It's the womb. Right here, it's the new womb. You know. So it's that new world. But yeah, that's the 6 energy right there. We gonna go off into that. Boom. Okay. So now Saturn is also, like I said, it's the 7. It's the site, so it knows angles. It knows angles. So it's coming out of that 6, carrying that from that 9 energy. So it knows curves as well. So this is where we get into that integration between the two. It's like at 5 come, it's like I don't even know where to put it because it's like it could go either way. It could go either way with the 5, bro. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like because all of 5 is, we're gonna get into that later. It's like upside down 2, kind of, sort of. It's like boom, boom, and it's like upside down 2 would kind of be like that. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta think when we get off into 5, this is the half, and when we make, look, this is 5 right here. This is the half of the whole of the circle. We know 2's as halves, yo. We know 2 is the dissecting of the 1, and it becomes 2. You know, but yeah, man. So it's like when we talking about 5, it's like It's like I'm gonna put it right here. When we talking about five, we talking about something that's implementing both the masculine and the feminine, being the left angle as well as the curve. It's both energies, yo. You know what I'm saying? It's just bringing them together. It's like, and this is where we get birth from. It's like unity. Five is another gate. You know what I'm saying? Portal, so to speak. I mean, look at five. It's like, this is also the Fibonacci sequence as well. This is the what we all move through. This is true navigation right here. We talking about that five. I'm talking about that five, that fire, that five. You know what I'm saying? It's fire. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is like true, like just essence. So, you know, that's the five. And we know this is creation. This is the sun. This is the Leo constellation. The fifth house is, it's being born within the womb. So we're gonna put the six right here. It's breeding. It's being bred, and then it makes its way out, which is the open curve right here. It comes out. The sun is born. Then we're getting off into that four, which four is just like a upside down H, and it's like, let me see. I'm getting off into something else, but four and four is eight, and eight is like H. It's the eighth letter. But I'm getting off into something else because, thing is, four is like a door. So, four is like that split energy as well. It's two twos. So, four is like a door, yo. So, it's like I say, five is in the womb, in the six, and it gets born through the four, through the door. You know what I'm saying? Through the doorway. And this is where we get out of those D. This is where we get out of those D words from, as far as descending into, uh, whatever you want to say. D something. It's D something. It's always. It's like, it's in the sense of going down, because you gaining density. There you go. That's the D word right there. That's what that is. It's gaining density. It's like you coming from this world into the physical. And five, that's kind of like what the physical is. It's like the five senses. Smell, touch, hearing, sight, and taste. It's the five senses. But coming through this door, four is like the see, the thing is, it's like, this is the sun sign right here, right? Got the surroundings, like the spectacle right here with the surrounding aura, right? This is the sun. This is the seed. Like I say, it's like it's in its own space, right? So when we talking about the four, and we splitting, we go off into perspective. It's like you got the four corners of the earth, right? And we also have the four seasons and the four elements: earth, wind, fire, water. We also have four hemispheres of the brain, four chambers of the heart. This is like the ultimate like split, because it's like I said, it's two twos, bro. It's like two is that one split, but then it's like you got another split, and then it's like four hemispheres now. It's like they all reflecting of each other. It's like they all got each other's back type shit. It's like no blind spot. That's when we getting off into the 360. When we talking about the circle, as well as a pyramid. When we talking about the squared circle, you know. And we're talking about four being that house, that four being that house energy. We know this is the Cancer constellation. This is the this is the house of the home. I don't know if y'all heard my stomach growling. I guess I'm getting hungry. But Cancer, this is the fourth. This is the fourth house. This is the house of home. And when we talking about that four, like I said, you split it up like this. say you're in a pyramid, it's like you have your surroundings and you're looking up, looking off into that focal point up, or you could be looking at it from a perspective of from the top down, depending on how you look at it. But this is kind of like if you're looking inside the house, or looking inside the pyramid or cone or whatever you want to be in. It's like you looking up to this focal point, and like, you know, it also, I mean, gaining dimensions is like coming this way and then going that way and then going out, then out, then out. This is when we get to talking about the Merkaba, but I guess that's something else. You know what I'm saying? That's for something that's uh just gaining dimension, and just got something that's, you know, you got one say call it a pyramid that's spinning this way counterclockwise, and then one that's spinning this way clockwise. So it's like encompassing like your whole area, your whole surroundings, just like 360-degree vision and awareness, you know. But anyway, I guess that's the pause right there. Where was I at 4? And you know, from next we got the 3. That's the try. That's the try. Which by saying this, automatically I see a pyramid. I can't help but just finish it, because this is what the 4 comes from. But it's like that 4 splits in half. It begins to, like I say, once it descends, you gotta understand. Once it descends, it splits in half, bro. It's like, cause it still keeps this, but it's like it's going off into this, but it can't necessarily bring. I mean, it brings it here, but it's like this understands that this isn't real. This is a creation. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a creation, so it's like you have to keep this. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep this, but it splits in half basically. That's where we have the 3 that's coming down into 3 dimension, 3D. Uh, 3-dimensional beings don't have this. You know what I'm saying? This is the creation. This is the try. It's like, it's just, it's flat. You know what I'm saying? 180 degrees. It's like, and this is crazy because the delta, the try is really like the D, but the D is the 4th letter. Because the D, like I say, it's like the door, but it's like right here with it. It's not necessarily like the other side of that door. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the door. But yeah, man. So this is also like the vortex right here. Just the other side. This is just the projection. This 3 right here. This is the creation. This is the sun. What we can call it is the avatar. You know what I'm saying? You know, Jesus was kind of represented with that 3 energy, which is also, I wanted to get off into that because when we're talking about Pisces, it's ruled by Neptune. We got right here is the trident. You know what I'm saying? Which that 3. You know, when we talking about Neptune, Poseidon, this is that Enki energy, because we knew Enki as the Lord of the waters, or the ruler of the waters, or waters and mysticism. All of these things associated with Pisces. You know, Enki is kind of like that Neptune archetype. Alright, my bad, y'all. I had to free up some space. And the video cut out as soon as I said that. So, as soon as I mentioned this. So, I guess this is this energy telling me that I need to free up some space. uh, and for the most part, I'd agree. I definitely agree. But getting off into this, when we're looking at this is kind of like the beginning of that arrowhead, that angle. Because I guess 3 is like the base. But really, like 3 is like the point coming from these two. But I'm thinking this would be like the 1 and the 2, right? It's the unison, and these rotate right here, doing the forever dance. Doing the forever dance. That's just You know how that go. Those two polarities, they steady rotating around each other forever, keeping each other going. But this is like the perceiver of what's going on here. And then this starts to create its own, projections. Make its own movies. Shout out to Dolo. He just dropped that video. You know what I'm saying? Start making your own projections, making your own movies. You know? So, I guess with all that being said, man, I know I started going backwards and then I started kind of going forward from here because, this is just a one and a two. This is just a zero. Yeah, if we want to go deeper than that, talking about the zero, then the hand that he's got the whole world in his hands, like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess this is what they call iTunes. You know what I'm saying? But when we talking about tune, you think of tomb as where you go and you die. That's because you return back to. Come on now, I knew that. you know, and then you get recycled through this. Is that how they go? At what point do it's like? At what point do you become just totally self sufficient and like? But you don't want to detach from this because this is like your lineage. You know what I'm saying? This is your DNA. But you know, I guess it's all about. I don't know. I guess you shed and recreate. However that go. You start moving into other realms and other dimensions. You know what I'm saying? Until you just become whole. Until you just get familiar with everything. You know what I'm saying? It's like your field of vision is like this. It's like having the Byakugan. You know what I'm saying? I think talking about the Byakugan is crazy because that had like a weak spot, right? Like it had 360. It could see like 360 degrees, but not the full 360 degrees. Say this is the being right here. It'll be like a blind spot back here. And like I said, that's the arrowhead. That's the arrowhead. That's that penetration. It's like right here. It's like it's that link, and this is the power sign right here. You know, but it's just moving in a new space. But that space is like it's going to be occupied because you gotta think if this was completely closed off, then you wouldn't even have access to it in the first place. You wouldn't even be in this space if it was completely closed off. So there has to be some weak spot, some opening because that's how you got there. So that's how they was able to slip through that in Naruto. Someone with the Byakugan. But yeah, man, this is also that 3 energy. I'm saying that because I'm just saying the triangle right here. It's the arrow. But yeah, man, I think that's about it for right now. I just wanted to drop that, share that with y'all. Y'all take what y'all want to from it. Just want to throw this in here as well. Fun fact. Going back to that 7 energy. We know that 7 is that L energy, right? We all know what that is. But you look at that 7, that L, you also see the V. You gotta understand when so-called so and so what they call Uranus or Uranus was castrated or penetrated through. It's that weak point that got broke through. And I hate to just be hate is a strong word, but but so what's the word I'm looking for, man? See, here I go. This language. It's like not harsh, not not even necessarily vulgar, but like just straightforward, I guess. We talking about Uranus. Come on now, y'all can kind of put that together. But it's what falls through. So anyway, that's what happened there. That broke through. But that's that L energy. That V as well as the L. But the point I was making was, if this was Uranus, and we know this was Cronus that cut through, the story goes that Venus was born from this castration. Venus was born. It's like her spirit like fell out of like Uranus' nutsack, right, and fell into the waters below. And she was born Aphrodite from that seashell. You know, we had Aphrodite come out. Hold on, I gotta doodle that real quick. Got Venus right there coming from out that seashell. You know, I know I'm kind of being dramatic, but I done got into it. But and there we have the birth of Aphrodite. But the point I was making is, we also know Venus as who else? They call it, back in the Gap, I guess they called that the Morning Star. And this is also who they call Lucifer, the Morning Star, son of the morning. And it's like, it kind of like announced the birth of the sun, I guess, because it will rise in the day before the sun. So it announced the birth of the sun. So I'm thinking that Venus was born before. I'm thinking Venus feel like before Saturn. Seemed like that's how it sound, bro. And we think of Saturn as Satan, and Venus is Lucifer. We know these are kind of like the same archetypes, but they're kind of like twin brothers in a sense, or counters to each other. It's like, we know Satan, Saturn as Father Time. It's kind of like the opposer. It's kind of like what's working against you. It's kind of like the higher up, like the head, like the shield, like the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like the peak, I guess, is what I'm saying. But it's just because it came first, and like this is the path that we're following. But I'm thinking over here, it's like Lucifer. This was like we're talking about the fallen angel who fell from the skies. And I guess Lucifer was the first one with a body, I guess, bro. See, that's where we come from. I guess we come from this because we was the actual physical manifestations of it. And we know Venus as like kind of like that light, the light body. That's where we got out of that from. Whereas like Saturn was just a timeline, bro. Saturn just crashed through. It was like it's kind of like that Atum. It's like that Atum archetype, kind of, sort of. And we know, like I say, Saturn is Father Time. It's kind of like the Grim Reaper. So, but it's like the hidden and the seen is what I believe. Time cannot be perceived with the eyes or seen. We just go through it. It's the space time. It's the darkness. So Saturn is kind of like the sun in that sense, and the Venus is kind of like the moon in that sense. And we know that Saturn moon connection, or that's it, just that Saturn Venus connection, is like Venus is kind of like, when we say the daughters of men, see, Saturn is the man, Venus is the woman. When we say the daughters of men, but yeah, that's kind of what happened there. And we know that correlation between the moon and I drew that with I wrote that with 3 O's. I didn't mean to do that. And I kind of connected that N and that U. I didn't mean to do that either. But we know that connection between the moon and Isis And Venus is kind of like Isis is kind of like a representation of both of those energies. Or I sit Venus and the moon, that is. Isis was like, when we're talking about Isis and Hathor, these are those Ishtar, those Ishtar energies, those cow energies is what I'm referring to. When we're talking about the moon and Taurus, the cow, we know the constellation of Taurus is exalted, and I'm sorry, the moon is exalted in Taurus, in the constellation of Taurus. It's like at home there. Well, it's not at home. It's at home in Cancer, but it's like that's his place. Like that's his spotlight. You know what I'm saying? Like it's lit. You know what I'm saying? So, but cause it's that manifestation energy, bro. Taurus. But what else I had got out of this was what else I got out of this? It was something else. Uh, oh yeah, this is also that Adam and Lilith energy as well. We talking about Lilith being the dark moon, or Lilith being the first wife of Adam. That's kind of what that was. It's like Adam and Lilith got here at the same time. You know, Lilith may have came before Adam type shit. So it's like Lilith wasn't willing to submit to Adam because it was like, nigga, I was here. I've been here just as long as you. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if anything, we equals type shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just we on two different. And it was just real opposing. So it's like they doing this forever. They just I don't think they too much meet up with each other, and when they do, like for the most part, they just rotating around each other. But when they do, that's where that eclipse come into play, and that's how Venus was not Venus. That's how Eve was created anyway. It's that the E V E. But that's how Eve was created anyway. They say she was created from Adam's rib. She was created from Adam's rib. And when we talking about rib, that's your side, right? We've been talking about this like that one point, that one opening. And it's like from that opening, Eve was created. So now it's like Eve is like a piece of Adam now. Well, she was created from Adam's rib. So this is like the second feminine archetype. So it's like Isis. I mean, not Isis. Well, yeah, Isis. Well, what we gonna call her, Lilith or Hathor. Lilith is like that Venus energy, while Eve is like that moon energy. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. I guess I'm gonna leave it at that now. If I have anything else, I'll be back. But I'm gone. Peace.